Hi everyone, welcome back to the second part of the video about understanding the basic concept behind blockchain. So in the previous video, we have learned about blockchain and introduction, cryptographic base, some use cases and smart contracts. And in this video, we will be covering some consensus algorithm or mechanisms, then some types of blockchain and some popular blockchain frameworks and platforms. So if you haven't watched the first part of the video, I highly recommend you to watch the same. I will provide link to the video in the description box below. And if you have already watched it, then without wasting time, we can jump into the session.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Consensus mechanisms or algorithm. So in simple sense, we can say it is just a decision making, or in statement or definition, we can say it is a group decision making process in which group members develop and agree to support a decision in the best interest of the whole. I don't know whether you remember or not, but in the first part of the video, I said in the example, we got the privilege to add his block to the blockchain, and there was some decision making, and in that decision everyone selected B to add his block. So that's what I'm talking about, this consensus or decision making. So actually there are so many types of consensus algorithms or mechanism, and proof of work is just one of it. So this proof of work is being used in Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So let me explain you with an example. So suppose that someone is sending me 2 bitcoins and I'm writing it as he had sent me 10 bitcoins, and I'm trying to add it to the blockchain as a block. So at that time there will be some kind of validation or verification, and others may or may not find that I'm doing it in a wrong way and my block may get rejected. But at that time it will cost time. Like if we are sending some money to someone in the case of emergency, we have to transfer that money as early as possible. So if there is no consensus, it will affect the overall the structure of blockchain, and also it will cause delay in the blockchain. So this proof of work is a consensus algorithm used in public blockchain, mainly by solving some puzzles. So how I could prove that I'm a legitimate one and I could do this? So for that purpose, the cryptographic or the blockchain network will provide me some puzzles, cryptographic puzzles, and I have to solve the puzzle and I have to get a key. And while submitting the blockchain, I have to attach this key to the blockchain and submit to the blockchain network. So if the key matches the puzzle, then others will identify I'm the one who is privileged enough to add the block. But by that time, I have sent enormous number of immense amount of energy and computational for this purpose, for solving this purpose. So if I have add that block to the blockchain, then they will give me or reward me with some bitcoins. If we are going for this bitcoin, they will reward me with some bitcoins or some transaction fees, and that way I will get reward for whatever resources I have spent over this blockchain. So suppose that I'm a malicious user who have spent my computational power in order to solve this cryptographic puzzle, and I managed to write some invalid transaction and I'm trying to add it to the block. At the time of verification, if someone finds that I'm doing an invalid transaction, then my block will get rejected. So at that time I won't get any rewards because my block haven't added to the blockchain. So I have lost so many money for this computational resource, and at the same time I haven't got this reward also. So there's a high probability that malicious attacker won't attempt something like this. So that's how this public blockchain like Bitcoin keeps its integrity and performance. Let me explain the concept with you an example. A is equal to b plus a, some variables, and 8 is equal to 3 plus x. So we know that the value of x is 5 because we could do x is equal to 8 minus 3, 5. But as we are using hashing, it is not possible to travel back, or hashing is irreversible. So what we could do is that we could substitute x with some values. Negative is also possible. But here for the example we are using x is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and at x is equal to 5 we are getting 3 plus 5 is equal to x. So similarly, we have some functions here, hk hash, hk minus 1t and nonce. So this nonce is the key which we have to find using our cryptographic function, like nonce is equal to x. So here hk is equal to hash of the block and hk minus 1 is equal to hash of previous block, and t is something like a difficult target. So these things are constant and we don't know what the nonce value is. So what we could do here is that we could try brute forcing this function by using alternate values for nonce. And if we got a hit, like when we substitute a particular value to nonce, we are getting this hash. Like when x is equal to 5, we understood that x is the key. So what we do is that we submit this nonce value along with our block in order to add to the blockchain. So upon verification, everyone will try calculating the hash using this nonce value, and if they all are getting this hash value, then they will accept or they will validate that this block is genuine, and then they will go for the transaction and everything. And if everything got validated, he will be rewarded something like 12.5 Bitcoin in the Bitcoin network. So that's how the proof of work works in public network. And similarly, there are some consensus algorithm also, proof of stake, proof of authority and authority, and some consensus algorithm. So this proof of stake, it is something like a betting. So suppose that I'm putting $10,000 to the network, and I'm telling to the network, I'm putting this much money for this network and I have to add this block to the blockchain. So it's based on the highest stake. Like highest stake means staking is the value of money we bet on certain outcome. So based on the highest stake and coinage, we choose a node or we choose one to add his block. So suppose that I got the privilege to add the block to the blockchain. Then I go forward and add the block, and if the block is genuine, then I will get the stake back, which is the $10,000, and I will also get some transactional charges. So that's how I get reward. And suppose that I'm a malicious attack and I put this much stake for this network, suppose that $10,000 itself. So if others find that my block is invalid, then I will lose that money. So if I add a genuine block to the blockchain network, I will get the reward, and my coin age, it is something like a experience. The coin age also increases. And these all are in the case of public blockchain. And going for permission blockchain, which means that we need our authority or authenticity to being a part of this network. So in that type of network, everyone will know that we are this guy and I'm the one who is adding the block. So it is based on trust, identity and reputation. Suppose that I got the privilege to add the block and I had done some invalid transaction and I'm trying to add that block to the blockchain. So others will find out that I had done some malicious attack, and others could point out that he is doing some malicious and he is not worthy enough to being part of this blockchain, and just kick him out. It will be fast enough as compared to proof of work and all. And these are some of the other consensus mechanisms. So next we are going to learn about types of blockchain. So according to general classification, there are mainly three types of blockchain: public, private and consortium blockchain. In the case of public blockchain, we use it for cryptocurrency, voting and fundraising, and in it the databases, which means the ledgers, are publicly visible and anyone could join and add or verify the transaction, just like cryptocurrency and blockchain network. And going for private blockchain, these ledgers are publicly visible, but only specific people within an organization are allowed to join, add and verify the transaction. For example, within the organization, supply chain management and assets ownership. And going for consortium blockchain, and this is widely used in this trading field and some of the industrial trading and everything. So in it, only a group of organization, not only one or not a single organization, but a group of organization can verify and add transaction, and the ledgers can may be open or restricted to selected group. So it is being used in some smart contracts, business industries and for trading also. So but talking about this public blockchain, there are some disadvantages of this public blockchain, like this is complex and it got slow speed and wastage of resources, which we have discussed in that case of Bitcoin. And it contains privacy issues, like we could see there are some transactions going between one party to another party, but due to some hashing and public address, we can't identify who's the individual is. But if you could identify him, there's some sort of privacy issues also. And 51% attack, which means that if 51% of the population or 51% of the node belongs to a malicious attacker, then he could easily validate any invalid transaction. So public blockchain is vulnerable to that kind of attack also. Then moving on, types of blockchain based on permission level. So there are two types, permission based and permissionless blockchain. In permission, we have to require permission to join and participate in consensus mechanism and everything, and these are extremely fast, scalable and energy efficient. And in case of permissionless blockchain, it doesn't require permission to join and participate, and it is open to all, more trust, and it got higher security also. Like Bitcoin, it got higher security. So that's what the difference between these types of blockchain. Then moving into the popular frameworks. So using this framework, we could build our own blockchain network. So there are plenty of blockchain network available in the market, and I'm just introducing you to just two networks, that is Ethereum network and Hyperledger Fabric. So going for Ethereum, it is a blockchain network which uses Solidity program language to create smart contracts, and also uses POW or proof of work or proof of stake for consensus mining, and it uses cryptocurrency which we call as Ether. Then talking about Hyperledger Fabric, so it is a framework developed by Hyperledger project which is under Linux Foundation, and it got no cryptocurrency, and we could add pluggable consensus algorithm into it, and it got a private and permission network which is optimal for consortium types of blockchain, and it allow confidential transaction also. So I'm not going into this theory part. Let me take you to some websites. So this is the official site of Ethereum, and if you want to develop a blockchain of your own, then I recommend you to go for developers, and here you could see some of the documentation, tutorials, codes, and we could also set up a local environment, blockchain in the local environment also. So these are some of the local environment, and I highly recommend you to download Truffle if you want to learn more on this blockchain development. And also there is some Remix ID, which is an online ID for this deploying smart contracts using Ethereum. So I'm using it as of now. And here you could see some tutorials, and also there's plenty of documentation regarding to this Ethereum frameworks and everything. So I highly recommend you to go through all this documentation and know more about Ethereum. And going for Hyperledger, so this is the official website of Hyperledger, and here you could see there are so many frameworks developed under Hyperledger project, and here this Hyperledger Fabric is the one where that I have introduced in the presentation. So I also recommend you to go through this documentation or websites also to learn more about Hyperledger Fabric. And there are some certain sites where you could learn difference between Hyperledger and Ethereum, because that is something like a top on the board. So just have a look at it. And moving on, popular platform. So there are certain platforms which provide blockchain as a service. If you are creating a blockchain, we have to take care of the storage facilities, private keychains or private keys, then the transaction between IoT device or some devices to blockchain, then active directories, everything we have to take care of. So there are the topmost companies that provide this blockchain as a service are Azure from Microsoft and blockchain from Amazon. So here this Azure blockchain workbench provide a framework for Ethereum, Hyperledger Fabric, Quorum, Multichain and Contra. And similarly here Amazon also provides some frameworks also. And we have to, of course, we have to pay some fees in order to develop this. And Azure got some plans, and it is pay per use, and here also something. So without explaining this theory part, let me take you the official websites. So this is the Azure blockchain workbench, and you could see there are so many documentation how it is easy enough to deploy a blockchain within this Azure blockchain. And here we could see the blockchain of AWS, which is Amazon Web Service, and here also using their service, blockchain as a service, we could also deploy some blockchain in their cloud. And there are, just like the previous one, there are some certain websites which will help you to choose which is the best one in order to deploy a blockchain. Yeah, so that was about the video. So guys, I hope I have made this video simple enough for you to understand the basic concept behind blockchain. And if you haven't understood the basics, or if you got some doubt, don't worry, just comment your questions or doubts in the comment section below, and surely I will be answering those questions also. So if you like this video, then please comment your opinions and show your support, because your support is something that keeps me motivated to build further videos, something like this. So I hope we could meet again in the next video with an interesting topic. So see you.